There's probably a lot of reasons why people look at their marketing and think, my marketing's not working. Why isn't my marketing working? So, without specifically being able to look at your marketing, today on the podcast, I'm going to talk about 3 reasons why I see the majority of marketing doesn't work for a small business. So, join me and let's have a chat about the 3 reasons that I see that marketing doesn't work. Hey, welcome to the Small Business Made Simple podcast, brought to you by socialmediaandmarketing.com.au. Being in business is never easy, but it can be simple, or at least simpler. Join me, your host Jen Donovan, every week where we focus on marketing, social media, and working towards simplifying your business. You with me? Let's do this.
Gonna dream it big, 'cause someone out there listening. Everyone's got a voice to give, and it's time I heard you whistling, 'cause there's no point at all, in dreaming small,
Why, hey there, welcome to episode 122 of the Small Business Made Simple podcast. Thank you as always and every week for lending me your ears. I know there's lots of choices out there and I really do appreciate you making my podcast one of them. If you're a new listener, then hey, super welcome. If you're back, then welcome back. I'm of course Jen, the host, marketing thought leader, digital strategist and coach for small businesses. And pretty much I just have one goal for you in mind in your business, and that is I want you to make marketing a priority. Marketing can't be a sometimes activity. It actually needs to be it actually has to be a priority in your business, because if you want to grow, then you need to market yourself. Just before we head into this week's episode, I did want to just say that I am, of course, opening up my podcast for sponsorship. So you can sponsor this podcast. You can do it in weeklies, or you can buy a package with a couple of different sponsorship options. The podcast itself gets over 1,000 downloads every single week, and a little bit more than 4,500 every single month, and it's continually growing. So if you would like to get your message to small business owners, then maybe podcast sponsorship is something that you've never thought of, but maybe something you could think of. Anyway, you can find out all the information if you would like to have a bit of a chat at socialmediaandmarketing.com.au, which of course is my website. And then you can just find the podcast tab up the top and see sponsor a podcast. Or of course, just send me a message. I'm more than happy to have a bit of a chat with you as well. But let's get into this week's episode. This week's episode is all about the 3 reasons why marketing isn't working. Now, without a detailed look at your specific marketing strategy, I'm not sure exactly why your marketing isn't working, or perhaps it is working and you're perhaps just not looking at the right metrics, or maybe you're being a little bit hard on yourself. But today I wanted to discuss the 3 major or common reasons I see that marketing doesn't work. I guess the first trick with getting your marketing right is targeting the right audience, right? Because we want people who will actually buy our products or our services. So let's assume you know exactly who your target audience is. You've researched this, you have hard data, you're not guessing, you actually know who your target market is, and your marketing still isn't getting through to them and making sales for you. So that's the premise of today's episode, is that you do know who your target market is. But first, maybe your marketing isn't working because your materials are boring to your audience. And I know that sounds like a bit of tough love, but let me explain. Because if your materials are boring to your audience, it could be for a whole range of reasons. It could be that everyone uses the same marketing materials as you, and you're just not standing out from the crowd. You know, we have a very crowded and noisy marketplace that we are all trying to sell to consumers in. And maybe your marketing materials just aren't standing out. Maybe they're just a little bit boring. Maybe your ideal client or your ideal customer doesn't read or consume that type of material. For example, you might be using Twitter, but none of your customers are on Twitter, or your ideal client isn't a tweeter. Maybe you have the same ad you've had for years or months in your local newspaper, and so it's no longer standing out from the crowd. You know, if you're using the same ad in the same spot, then we get a little bit complacent, and we just kind of, look over those things. So maybe you aren't penetrating the target audience that you once were because your ad just isn't standing out anymore. Or perhaps your ideal customer doesn't even read newspapers. So you get the gist. Maybe that's one reason why they're finding it boring. Or the language you're using is boring. There's no human-to-human marketing in it. Maybe, it's you're using the wrong type of language for your business or to attract the client that you want. Human-to-human marketing is so important, and it definitely works. So, maybe the language you are using is a little bit boring. The second reason why your marketing might not be working is it's all about you. It's what you do, how long you've been doing it for, where you're located, how great you are at doing what you're doing. And it's just all about you. What's everyone's favourite subject? Everyone's favourite subject is themselves. So I get why you think everyone wants to know about you because you love talking about you. But as a business owner, it's up to us to realise that our marketing actually needs to be about them. It needs to be about our audience. It needs to be about your audience. You need to be showing through your marketing what problems you solve for them and what roadblocks you're able to remove for them, or even what delight you're going to bring them if they buy from you. How are you going to make their life easier? How are you going to make their life simpler? There's a reason why this podcast is called Small Business Made Simple, because that's my promise to you, is to try and make your business life simpler. Not easy, because business is hard, but simple, or at least simpler. Like products, for instance. If you sell products, don't tell me the details about the product. Tell me why I need it. Tell me the benefits, not just the features of the product. I know the features. I can pick up whatever it is and read the label on the back, but tell me why I need to buy it and why I need it to buy it from you when I could go to any of your competitors. Now, there's a really super easy way to tell if your marketing is all about you, and that is to go and see how many times you write or mention the word I, us, we in your marketing. Because if you're using that type of language, you're not talking about your customer, you're talking about you. So I challenge you to go back and have a look at your last 5 social media posts. Maybe even go and have a look at your homepage on your website, or even if you have brochures about your business, go and have a look at them. Is it about you or your customer? How many times are you using the word I, using the word we, or us? Write it down. Actually, do like a running tally and just have a look at your marketing. Now, okay, a bit of a disclaimer here when we're talking about ourselves, because we're not talking about storytelling here. We're not talking about how you can tell your story or tell a story about something that's happened to you or something you've done in order to share the lesson with your audience. My weekly emails are often stories about me, but the lesson is always for my audience. There's always a segue from my story to the point I actually want to make to my audience, or the point I'm trying to make to you. Because human-to-human marketing, it's about storytelling, and you know how much I love human-to-human marketing. But if all you ever do is tell stories and your audience doesn't get the lesson, doesn't see the lesson, or you don't tell them what the lesson is, then it's simply just you talking about you, and you're not actually doing human-to-human marketing. You are simply just talking about yourself. And really, the story isn't a story. It's just a story about you. Because what's the lesson that you want your audience to hear, know, or learn? All right, the third reason why your marketing isn't working is because it's not targeted. Your marketing is not targeted at the people in your ideal audience. It's more of a spray and pray strategy. That whole throw spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks. Because if you think if I talk to everyone, then someone is likely to respond. And I think we really deep down know that's not the case. If you put your consumer hat on, so take off your business hat and put on your consumer hat, You know what marketing grabs your attention, and it's never a targeted at everyone piece of marketing. It's often a targeted direct to your demographic piece of marketing. Otherwise, you wouldn't have seen it, or most likely you wouldn't have seen it. So the chances are that, if you're using the spray and pray and you think that everyone is your target market, then that is actually where most of your problems are coming in. Targeting your marketing is about using the methods, so like social media or newspaper or podcasts, and making sure you are talking benefits, not just features, and storytelling with a purpose. And using customer-centric language. So not many times using the words I, we, or us, but you're using customer-centric language like you and them and I don't know what else, you. So you're actually talking to you when you are doing your marketing. I'm actually talking to you. You're actually talking to your ideal customer. Like I said in the beginning, there might be a host of reasons why your marketing isn't working or why you think your marketing isn't working. But in my experience, it's generally some level of the three that I've just mentioned. Your audience finds your marketing boring, so it's not penetrating them at all. It's all about you, and it's not customer-centric, and it's untargeted. And of all those three, or not all those three, of those three, if I had to make a call, I'd say the third one, being untargeted marketing, is the one that I would see the most. Niching down into a target market is one of the hardest things for business owners to get their head around. It's like having two parties to go to as a 5-year-old and always wondering whether the other party had better games or better food, and left wondering if you made the right decision. It's that fear of missing out. FOMO. We all know that FOMO is real, and it haunts us as small business owners. And I get that, but niching down and targeting your marketing is actually one of the best things that you can actually do for your business, and to get a better return on any marketing investment that you make, whether the investment is an investment of time or an investment of money. Because remember, even if you're just using social media that is technically free, if you charge out what you charge an hourly rate, then social media no longer becomes free. Anyway, guys, I hope that has helped you in some way. I hope that maybe you've had a bit of a light bulb moment somewhere in there, that you'll go back and have a look at your own marketing and see if any of these particular things fit when you're thinking, well, I don't think my marketing is actually working. Go back, have a look, analyze, test and measure, and see how you go. But that's it for episode 122. I will be back next Thursday, of course, with 123. But I look forward to chatting before then. Love to connect with you on Instagram, LinkedIn, or of course in my Facebook group, Like-Minded Business Owners. You would be super welcome to come in there if you're not already a member. I've recently changed my Instagram from what it used to be to now it is @JenDonovan_. So I'd love to connect with you over on the gram as well. But have a fabulous week, whoever and whatever it brings into your life. And if you're enjoying these podcasts, press the subscribe button and maybe even leave a rating and review if you have an extra 2 minutes in your day. Otherwise, I'll see you next week. But whatever you do, remember, my small business peeps, as my opening song says, there is no point in dreaming small.
No time like the present. Tell it like you feel it, say it proud, be true, and let us see you for the star that you are. No point in dreaming small.
I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land, the Yorta Yorta people, on which I record this podcast and conduct my business today, and pay my respects to their elders, past and present. I extend this respect to the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people here with us today as well.